Hey, welcome to the Pork Police Podcast, where we talk about guns, gear, gadgets, and guests. I'm Todd, and this is
Sean.
We are a lot of times when I'm telling people my partner, Sean, I
Yeah,
always
that
have to
probably doesn't sound right, does
I
it?
always have to rephrase that and say, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I always have to say my business partner, Sean,
Right,
because I
right.
always say, yeah, my partner, Sean, and then I'm thinking, well, it is 2025, and people might be like,
That's right.
not that there's anything wrong with that. Today we thought we'd talk about hogs. Man, we've been hunting hogs now we've been guiding hogs
Guiding together.
together for
Both
like
of
5
us.
years.
Right,
And
right.
it would have been fun to kind of keep track of how many we've actually killed, but
I bet the number would be astronomical. I mean, over 6,000.
oh yeah.
Well over 6,000.
Yeah. I mean there's nights, and it's kind of weird because we'll have nights where we'll just go out and just pound the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And then we'll go out the next night and we'll see just a few loner boars, maybe a small group here and there. And then we've had a handful of nights of over 600 hunts where we don't see a damn thing.
Well, and you think about it, most of those nights where we don't see anything correlate with the moon phase.
It's funny that you say that, because that's where I was going with this. So we've been trying to figure out, every once in a while we'll have a night where it's like, man, we're not seeing anything. I mean, there's nights where we go out and we'll see 150 deer.
Yeah, and the weather will be perfect. You're
Yeah.
thinking, you're pumped all day long thinking, man, this is going to be a great
Yeah.
hunt. This is going to be super good. And then,
I mean, on those weird nights where the moon is goofy, which we just had one of those nights,
We did.
you go out there and you see, man, what, 20 deer, 30 deer total?
Yeah.
And maybe one coyote. We don't see near as many jackrabbits. You just don't see stuff, and the hogs are not moving. And the other night we're looking up in the sky and we're like,
where's
well,
the
there
moon?
was a crescent moon. Where's it at now? And there's no moon. So I think a lot of it is based on moon phase.
Yep,
I think
I do too. And you think about those nights. We've got that one spot up there on that road where the hogs have really torn up those hay bales and turned it into their bedding area.
yes.
If we drive by that spot and they're all bedded down early in the night, it's going to be a slow night.
You're, speaking of that night, I'll have our editor put this on there where it shows a little bit better, but I'll just kind of give you a brief idea of what I go through with this character.
I don't know what he's talking about, but I just like to have fun out there. Every now and then you got to chase them.
So, well, not only chase them, but dive on them and full UFC wrestle them. And this happens quite often where I watch him do something, and I mean, he's only a couple years younger than me, but I watch him do something, and I just go, dude.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
are you thinking? But man, he brings excitement to it. Like just like the guy that was sitting next to me in the buggy. When your buggy pulled up and you had your white lights on, so that hog was kind of blinded, and he was just standing next to the road. And I'm like, what the shit, And then all of a sudden you got out, and I said to the guy next to me, I said, it's about to get Western. He's like, what do you mean? And I go, watch this shit. Well, what's he gonna do? I said, he's gonna dive on that. No. I go, yeah, he's gonna dive on that pig. And you were within a couple feet. You were about 3 feet away.
I was 3 feet away from that pig, and if he wouldn't have been facing me because he was like facing the buggy, and the way the wind was, I had to approach him that way, and I got 3 feet in front of him, and then he finally figured out something was up and took off running. And I thought when he hit that gate, because he ran head on into that red gate, thought it was going to knock him out, but it didn't. I should have pounced him then, but just didn't work out.
In our experience, that wasn't a wounded hog, so he wasn't completely pissed off. But in our experience, if you get that close to a hog, that's why I was like, oh boy. Because when you get that close to a hog and you're head on with them, they don't run, they charge.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you were up there, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And that was a good-sized pig.
Oh,
so
yeah, it's probably 180, 190.
Oh, I bet you it's 200 at least. But I thought this is going to get good.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're going to talk about pigs. One of the things that I'd like to start out with is how'd they get here and when did this happen? So, as you read all these studies through different universities and all these different wildlife studies, Fish and Game, DNR, all this other stuff, you get all these conflicting numbers on a lot of different things. But as far as when they got here, it's pretty much true to point. They came here in like 1539 with Spanish settlers, and they were actually brought here for a food source.
Yep.
So when they were brought here for a food source back then, there were no fences. So it was like you free graze and
free range, yeah.
until it's time for Wilbur to become food, he's just walking around.
Yep.
And there goes the word feral. Was domesticated, turned wild. right? Okay. So then I don't know what happened in between, like 1539 and then very early 1900s. But in the 1900s is when the Eurasian boars came over.
Yeah.
So they brought them over for sport.
Right.
And I think we had read something, or we had talked about somewhere in between there. When Columbus and all them boys came, they brought over different kinds. There's a bunch of different
breeds.
Yeah, there's a
bunch
bunch
all
of different
kinds
breeds.
of breeds. Yeah.
So, anyways, when these Eurasian boars came over, and they were turned out for sport, it's kind of the same thing. You turn those babies out, and pretty quick they're breeding with little old Sally Pig, and man, you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is they say it takes 3 months for a pig to turn feral. So if you turn out a domesticated pig, 3 months later, it's learned how to survive and live on its own with nobody caring for it.
Well, we always talk about how smart pigs are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smart.
Oh, they are. They communicate.
They do. And when people say, oh, it's just a stupid animal, or when they watch YouTube videos about guys walking up on pigs and they see them when they're jumping on, when they see them just springing them down with ARs, and they think they're coming to Texas to hunt, and they're going to go through 500 rounds of ammo, and it's just going to be a spray fest. There is a lot of strategy to actually getting close to pigs. I mean,
that's a whole nother podcast, because
dude.
I can tell you that when you talk about drilling in and being able to stalk an animal like a wild hog, it's a different ballgame. It's a whole different level, especially when you're trying to get 6 to 8 people that aren't hunters within 40 yards of them.
Well, so different studies will say that a wild pig, a hog, is number 3 to 5 on the range of intelligence for all animals.
Yeah.
So if they're at that 5-6 mark, and you take out the fish, because octopus and dolphins.
Yep.
Octopus, I had no idea, but octopus and dolphin, you take them out of the equation. Well, then a hog jumps down into that 3 or 4 most intelligent. Number 1 being an elephant, and number 2 is a crow.
I'll be darned. Go figure.
But guess where a dog's at? 10.
10.
A chimpanzee is 1 in front of a pig. So if a chimpanzee is 4, a pig is 5.
Well, you think about it. I mean, we've hunted a lot of pigs, and we've seen a lot of pigs. They communicate with each other.
Oh, you damn right they do.
Like, they'll run centurions or satellites out there in big groups, and if all they do is make one certain noise, the entire group is gone. And it's kind of amazing to watch and see how they actually interact with each other. There's a hierarchy.
Oh, dude.
Everything. I mean, it's pretty cool to watch.
When you say hierarchy, it's pretty cool when you say you walk up on a group of 30, 40 pigs, and you think, all right, these pigs are running together. They're like a big family. They know each other, whatever. And if one of those pigs gets too close to another pig, that pig will let it know. I mean, they will flat out let that. I mean, they'll get after it.
Oh yeah, they're loud.
And it's funny, and you can hear these things. The craziest thing I ever heard was one night on 1238. I got to get within about 40 yards of 2 boars fighting.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
You talk about the squealing and the screaming and the. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. And those things are vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're fighting, holy balls. Study, I think it was Texas A&M, in 1982, pigs were in like 15 or 18 states. And now, the latest study I found is they're in 35 states. Last I heard it was 37, but the study that I could actually find said they're in 35 states. And I don't remember, was it last year we heard that they were having a big infiltration coming in from Canada into North Dakota?
There is, and those are a whole different breed of pigs coming down from the north.
Aren't those more of like the Russian
they are
type razorback type pig?
A little bit more aggressive. And then the other rumor, I haven't seen any articles yet, is warthogs in South Texas that have escaped from high fences.
Dude, I saw trail camera footage, and I wish I would have snapped a picture of it. Probably 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
I saw some guy posted trail cam pictures like, what the hell?
Yeah.
There's warthogs in South Texas.
There is, and they're breeding and populating just like feral hogs.
Dude, now you talk about a warthog, breeding with a feral hog.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to talk about a big hog with some massive tusks.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
That's going to be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, that'll be a whole different deal there. The aggressiveness of those guys.
Yep,
it's going to be absolutely amazing. So we've kind of talked about the when and how. Let's talk about the reproduction. So there's a lot of conflicting articles written about when they become fertile. And, you'll get a dozen articles that will say that female piglets, the little sows, become mature, sexually mature at 3 months old.
Yeah.
And then you'll have others that'll say, oh no, it's 5-6 months old. It's based on where they live and what they eat.
Climate.
Well, no, it's what they
food.
eat.
I'll be darned.
So the more groceries they can get in them, the faster they grow, the more mature they become.
Quicker they can get pregnant.
Yeah. So, and you're talking about like females. So these little piglets at 3 months old are sexually mature. They get pregnant, and in 3 months and 3 weeks, they're dropping babies.
Yeah.
That means that in 14 months they can have 3 litters.
Yeah.
And they claim that the boars will try to breed at 6 months old. Some of them are successful, but most of them are about 12 months. But so now you think about it, and I'm not very good at math, but if you want to do the math, you take a sow and a boar, totally mature, and they breed, and then in 3 months and 3 weeks, say this big sow, and we have some big sows here.
We do.
Say this sow drops, let's go in the middle, 12 babies.
Yep.
So she drops 12, 6 of those are females.
Right.
And now in 3 months, they're getting pregnant. 3 months and 3 weeks, they're dropping babies. And they also say that a lot of these sows will wean their piglets after as soon as like a week and a half. They'll wean the piglets, and then they're fertile again.
I mean, think about it. We've seen it on our hunts. So, for example, the properties we don't hunt during deer season.
Oh, man.
We get them, somewhat under control right before deer season, right? And that's what the deer hunters want. But then they don't want us in there messing with them. Well, that 3 month period of deer season, by the time we get back in there, the hog population is tripled or quadrupled.
Yep.
Before we get back in there and get on them. So.
And that's funny because so I was talking to a guy today, Mike from out at the lake. So I was talking to Mike today, and I was he was like, man, I can't believe all these bucks went nocturnal. All the big bucks went nocturnal this year.
There's some monsters out there right now.
Oh boy, dude, that one that was on there a couple nights ago.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
But this is lesson learned. So what did we do? We pulled out of there because we knew we had big bucks in 3 locations, and we pulled out of those 3 locations to not put any pressure, any presence, any human presence on those properties coming up to deer season. And what happened? The deer went nocturnal.
They did.
So what happens? These pigs get on your feeder. They push all your deer away, eat all the food. Now they're starving out your deer. Now your deer are moving on to bigger and better things, other properties. And also, now these deer, because you don't have pig hunters on there, they can go nocturnal. Yeah. Because when we drive around at night, we'll get close to deer. I mean, really close to deer.
Yeah,
and they just kind of walk off. They're like, okay, there's somebody here, and they walk off. Well, if we're not on the property, they can just eat all night long.
Yeah.
And they'll just stand there at that feeder and eat.
Well, plus we're pushing them around at night. So, they've got to bed down a little bit, and they, want to hide, and then all of a sudden they're showing up during the day.
Yeah, so I think that a lack of hog hunting presence on deer properties greatly affects the deer, because not only the hogs are eating all the feed, but I think it allows the deer to go nocturnal.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I really do. So here's a couple interesting things. So nationwide, 7 to 9 million pigs across the country.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pigs. Texas alone, 2.6 million.
Yep.
Some of the studies say 2.9, but when you're talking 2.6, 2.9, I mean, what the hell? Highest population of pigs in the country would be Texas, then Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and then Arkansas.
Huh.
Well, I can't even imagine how hard it is to eradicate pigs in Florida. In the swamps, the thick stuff.
That's a whole different ballgame. I mean, there's no spot and stalk. There's nothing there. You got to sit up on baits.
That's a doggone tough hunt. Here's another interesting fact, and this almost seems unbelievable. They claim, like these researchers claim, that you would have to annually, every year, kill 66 to 70% of the pigs in your area just to maintain. So they won't grow. Just to maintain, so your numbers don't increase. 66 to 70%. That shows you how much they breed and how fast they can get out of control.
Well, I mean, think about what we do though, Todd. I mean, we hunt mainly Denton County. We've got a couple properties in Wise County, a couple properties in Grayson County, but most of our properties are along 455 highway in Denton County.
Right.
And in 5 years, we've killed over 6,000 pigs, and you can't even tell.
Yeah.
What would it be like if we hadn't have done that?
Oh, man.
I mean, it would be out of control. It is out of control.
Well,
But,
I mean,
it'd be
look at the amount of
worse.
ranchers pissing and moaning and complaining, you know, especially during corn. Woo-hoo.
Right.
You know, I mean, these pigs get in and they just absolutely just decimate crops. I mean, you know, like, so I've got some U.S. Department of Agricultural estimations here, and $2.5 billion in crop damage a year. $2.5 billion. Texas alone is right around that $50 million. And so...
And we've seen it.
Oh, we have seen it, brother. Yeah.
I mean, you take that property up by Tioga. We call it Corn Pond because of the cornfields, but 80-acre field, and they ate every kernel out of that field after it sprouted up an inch in 2 days.
2 days. I mean, they just went down every row. I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah.
Went down every row and cleaned it out. I mean, it's just
take that property down to Denton Creek bottoms.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we would chase pigs into this cornfield, and you get in the middle of it, and there's acres just knocked over and eaten by the pigs.
Well,
Acres.
and the thing is, you know, another thing with these pigs, in like when you talk about just corn or Milo, kind of same thing, but all they do is knock down a stalk, take a bite,
Yeah,
and then knock down
it.
the next one.
Yeah.
So it's just, and they just start knocking down, and there's like acres, like crop circles. Looks like aliens landed, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's another prime example of them breeding, because once that corn gets waist high, we can't hunt them in there.
you can't see them.
Because you can't see them. So they're in there breeding. It takes that corn 3 to 6 months to get up to where they're cutting it. And by the time you're doing that, you've got a whole nother crop of pigs that you're dealing with.
Hell yeah. You know, and talk about food prices. So not only, and this is another thing when I was reading trying to get a little bit more information that I never even thought about, but not only the amount of crop damage and how that affects insurance companies and insurance rates, but it also affects the market as far as food pricing. But here's the other thing. The amount of extra diesel fuel that the farmers use because the fields are rough, and the wear and tear on equipment. They're breaking equipment. I mean, you'd think a tractor, you ain't gonna even feel the hog damage. You do.
Yeah.
When they've got, you know, holes and pockets and moguls, just shredded an area. I mean, these guys are just getting the piss pounded out of them just driving in a tractor.
Yeah, they're destructive characters. That's for sure.
Another thing that it can funnel over to urban and rural areas would be that hogs can carry up to 10 different diseases. And, you know, every once in a while we'll shoot a pig and, you know, we'll cut it open for maybe pulling out some back straps or something. And maybe that pig wasn't overly big. You know, it was kind of like, well, this one should be good, but it's kind of borderline on size as far as that meat being a little gamey. And you'll cut into it and you'll be like,
nope.
Yeah, we ain't taking this one.
It's funny because when you cut into those hogs that aren't healthy like that, their meat is gray. I mean, immediately. It's not like it's old or it's been sitting there. If you cut it immediately, that meat is gray and it stinks.
And the other thing with that is that I've noticed is, you know how like whether you cut a tenderloin or backstrap out or whatever, you know, a chunk of neck meat, whatever it might be, and you grab onto it, it's a solid, firm chunk. That gray meat is
mush.
Yes, it's soft.
It is mush.
Ugh, it's friggin' disgusting. But you know, so these pigs are not only a menace to the farm fields, but and crops. They can, you know, they can smell for miles, and food down in the ground. You can bury, you know, a bunch of corn 8 feet down, and they'll smell it. And one thing that brings them in is afterbirth from calves.
I'll be darned.
And there's been multiple studies where these hogs will snatch up a calf or they'll snatch up a deer.
Yeah.
You and I both know how our turkey population in this area has went up because of all the pigs we've killed.
Right.
But I mean, they're terrible on bird eggs. I mean, it's everything. You know, they get into the water sources and they're crapping and pissing in there and putting fecal matter in there. And not only are they doing that, but they're disrupting all the vegetation and eating the vegetation and causing bank erosion, changing the pH level, the oxygen levels in the water. I mean, it goes on and on.
Gives a new meaning to picking out.
It absolutely does. You know, another thing that folks don't think about either is how many times do you drive down the road and you see not so much in town, but you see a dead pig on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So what does it say here? $36 million a year annually in auto damage.
I'll be darned.
Well, they're not in the money in the business for losing money. You know,
Right.
they're shit rolls downhill.
Well, we've seen firsthand what damage they'll do. I mean, we may have ran over a couple pigs in our day, and
couple.
it will flat tear the front end out of a side by side.
Yeah,
Those things, it's like hitting a brick wall.
Well, I tell you
They're
what,
solid.
I learned in a hurry how expensive that can be. I mean, if you accidentally run over one from behind, you know, you're okay with the skid plate, but you hit one of those big dudes
Oh, yeah.
broadside,
Yeah.
and it. Well, I mean, that one night we came around, there was, you know, that 90-degree right-hand corner, you know, right outside of town here, and I came around that corner, and all them pigs
Yeah.
scooted right across. There was nowhere for me to go, so I just punched it, and when I hit them pigs, I was airborne.
Yeah. You were airborne, and then I hit that big one that was broadside. I mean, the guys in my buggy were like, "Coof!" Almost headbutted, you know, the windshield because we hit it so hard, and
Dude,
it'll
just,
stop you.
They are just
It'll
tough,
stop you.
tough animals. You know, and then look at, you know, when you think about hog damage, most of the time you're thinking about farm fields, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, fence lines, farm fields, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But look at that poor gal out there in Decatur.
Oh,
with
yeah.
that, I mean, $1 million house, beautiful jacuzzi and pool and landscaping and
Flowers, bushes,
everything, you know, all the
shrubs.
irrigation.
Yeah.
Those pigs did $10,000 damage.
In one night.
Yes.
In one
They
night.
came in, and I ain't never seen anything like it. I mean, they came in, and
I mean, in the past month, I've seen on the news broadcast about feral pigs in Flower Mound and McKinney.
really,
Yeah.
oh wow.
And they're looking for somebody to come take care of them.
Well, we did just get a call from the city of Denton, so
We sure did.
we might be busy there for a while.
Yeah.
But these pigs came in and did $10,000 damage in that lady's yard. And, you know, she's got a small horse ranch. I can't remember if it's 15 acres or something like that. I don't remember.
It's nothing
but
big.
They come up out of the creeks, and they tore up all her irrigation, all of her flowers, all of her bushes and shrubs. They were literally 3 feet from her front door, just tearing stuff up. I mean, just tearing it up. And what a mess they caused.
And they probably did that within a 30-minute time period.
You know what's interesting is one of the studies say that a good-sized pig, not a monster boar, but a good-sized pig, can dig a trench 6 inches deep by 6 to 9 feet long in less than a minute.
I believe it.
I mean,
Because we've watched them in the fields.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've watched them tear it up.
when you watch them getting out there and they're throwing their heads and they're digging them
I mean,
holes.
dirt's flying 10 feet high.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It is something to watch.
they're a powerful animal.
They are. They're nothing but muscle.
Yeah. You know, let's talk about eradication now, getting rid of these doggone pigs. You know, there's obviously when you're in town, you know, like the city of Denton calling us, we're going to have to trap them out.
Yep.
You know, you don't want to be disarming firearms, discharging firearms in city limits, but so we're going to have to trap them out. But I get a kick out of the guys who maybe they've got a few pigs and they can slow them down by trapping them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got a lot of pigs, a trap ain't the way to go.
No, you're not going to do much because, like we said before, pigs are smart. And if you are trapping, you can't just set a trap up and leave it. You're going to trap one pig, and you're going to have to move that trap because the other pigs are going to remember, hey, Tommy over there disappeared the other night. I'm not going in that thing. So you really got to relocate that thing. It is a ton of work.
Well, this old boy out here that's got that huge field with those 3 groups of pigs running in it I know one of his workers. Well, we know one of his workers, so it was funny that you know, he caught 25, 30 pigs in the first week. He had that big old, $8,000 drop trap, you know, all the fancy gadgets on it. And he caught all them pigs and woohoo, living high on the hog, so to speak. And after that, he never caught another pig. But we would drive by and shoot out there with our scanners, look out there with our scanners.
There'd be pigs everywhere.
There'd be pigs everywhere. There'd be pigs on both sides of the traps, but not a damn pig in the trap.
Right.
I mean, they're smart.
Oh, they figure it out quick.
You know, and that's depending on how far, you know, you say you move that thing 300, 400, 500 yards.
Yeah.
That's an 8-hour job. Going
yeah.
in there, tearing that trap down, going and resetting it back up, rebaiting it.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God.
It's all T-posts driven in the ground. I mean, it's not work for the faint of heart, for sure.
No. And then we also get asked a lot about calibers. You know, what's the best caliber to take down a pig? You know?
Oh, listen, we could do a whole nother podcast on that. I was just thinking of a podcast. So you want to be a guide?
There you go.
I mean, you wouldn't believe how much work it is. It's not just meeting people and taking them out. I mean, you talk about gun maintenance, battery maintenance, buggy maintenance, gas,
Corn,
baiting,
cameras.
feeders, cameras. I mean, it is a beast.
Well, I just fixed that camera out here on Shirt's property, and it's already all jacked up again. So I got to go back out and refix that camera. I mean, the pigs are tough on. We had, I don't know what spot it was. We had one property that the damn pig kept on eating the antenna off the camera.
Yeah, I can't remember where that is.
It was constantly chewed up. The antenna was
nonstop,
constantly
that's
chewed
down
up.
in Bolivar.
I mean, I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yep.
But I mean, it just becomes a lot of work, and a lot of guys are, you're more of a gun guy. You're in the gun world. You're embedded in the gun world with your day job. Well, I can't really call it your day job because it's just one of your many jobs.
My life.
one of your many jobs.
Right.
He sleeps about 6 hours a week. But I'd say the most popular AR is 223.
Absolutely.
So you take that 223, and if you're doing a 223 5.56, a lot of guys. Oh, train. All right, pause. So when we start talking about calibers, the most popular
is the 5.56 223.
Yep.
I mean,
but
most accessible. Ammo's easy to get. It's cheap. Yeah, all the above.
But with that, you're talking about a lightweight projectile.
On average, 55 grains.
So even if a guy goes to 77s,
yep,
it's fast and it's small.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't put the
it just
doesn't
have the knockdown.
Yeah,
it has the pass through. It'll do the pass through. But with pigs, I mean, we've seen pigs run 150 yards with no guts. I mean, they're
how many pigs have we killed that you watch them out in the field and you're like, oh man, that must be a wounded pig, and then you hit it and you knock it down and then you go out there and the thing's got 3 legs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, somebody shot the doggone leg off that pig.
I know.
And it survived.
They got a little stumpy out there, but they're going at it.
We've had 3-legged pigs. We had a pig one time with half his face gone.
Yeah.
We had a pig with one ear.
Yeah.
I mean, that one night we had that big boar on cemetery, and I told them guys, you got to neck shoot or head shoot this pig, and they all shot him in the body, and they hit him 3 times. And he run off and got down in the weeds. He was gone. We left, went to another property. 2 hours later, he was back on camera. You could see the blood spot on him. He's back eating out of the feeder.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I mean, and that was a big pig. It was the size of a Volkswagen, but and that was with good calibers. But
yeah, and I'm sure we'll get all kinds of dispute on the 5.56 not doing a hog. I mean, we're going to hear it on this one, right? Because there's believers out there. But I'm here to tell you right now, unless you hit that pig in the head with the 5.56, it is not going to go down, or a spine shot. Spine will do it too. It will not go down at all. You 100%. Will never find it.
100%.
Never find it.
So how many? So here's interesting. I get a kick out of this.
Well, wait a minute. Let's throw this back out there too for the 5.56 believers. A pig is always moving, and very few people are snipers. Very few.
We've seen it.
And you're not going to get a perfect headshot on a pig with the 5.56 unless you are on a tripod or something, and that pig is perfectly still.
All the lucky things have to come into play.
Yeah, the planets align, and then it falls together.
Well, how many times have we had guys say, well, I just shoot him in the ear hole?
Yeah, okay.
Well, sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while.
Yeah, why don't you just try to hit the body?
I mean, yes, when I did a YouTube short a while back about calibers, and I had guys just, oh my God, I shoot him with a 22 long range, whatever, dude, and 450 SOCOM, and they just go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
We're talking about AR platforms and something with some knockdown power. Yes, you could kill. All right, interesting factoid here. I seen this little clip the other day about the largest Kodiak bear ever recorded killed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was killed by an 82-year-old woman, a native woman, Eskimo or native woman, in like 1956 with a 22 caliber long rifle.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, so it's possible.
It is, 100%.
But she had said that from the time that she was 13 and started hunting with her dad, he told her if a bear stands up, opens its mouth, you shoot it right in the roof of the mouth. If it's standing sideways, it's halfway between the ear and the eyeball, right in the side of the... I mean, shot placement is key. And with a pig, like you said, how they're always moving their heads, that shot placement is tough. I mean, if you shoot a pig in the ear hole, you got lucky. I don't care what you say. You got lucky because, for the one thing, is maybe you're sitting in your deer stand with a perfectly good shooting platform with your odd 6 or your 270, your 243, whatever it might be, 300 Win Mag, and you had a pig that came in and he stood there just like this, and you got your day optic.
Yep.
But when you're talking about going out in with a thermal, spotting and stalking on a hog, you're after walking 200 yards through the shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to pull up and get on that pig. I mean, myself, I got 3 calibers that I want to use.
Me too.
I want to use a 300 Blackout,
Yep.
a 6.8 SPC,
Yep.
or a 308.
Yep.
That's it.
100%. And which gun you use depends on your skill level.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, the blackouts for people that just come out for the first time, or they've never hunted, or they've never shot, blackout is the ultimate caliber for those hunters. Low recoil. It doesn't travel far. So if they're way off the mark, I mean, that bullet's going to die off after 400 yards. But when it hits a pig, it hits a pig.
Well, when you're talking about hitting, say this is the ground, and you're shooting at a pig, maybe he's not a big pig, but maybe he's just a medium pig, and you're shooting him at 40, 60, 70, 80 yards, that bullet's in the ground before you know it.
Yeah.
I mean, that bullet it's in the ground, and you don't have to worry about it. And plus, I mean, how many times have I heard you tell a guy, the reason why we shoot blackouts is because it puts all of that energy into that animal.
It does. How many bullets, 300 blackout bullets, have we dug out of pigs?
A ton.
Because they don't pass through. They will enter, all the energy of the bullet is expelled into that animal, and it doesn't exit. So that pig's got to eat it.
Well, dude, you can hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you hit it. So if a guy comes out and he brings his own gun with his own thermal, and say he's got his 5.56 and he hits that pig, it's you shoot that pig with that 300 Blackout and you get that.
Yeah, it's a whack.
I mean, you hear it.
We can count the hits.
Yeah, you hear it
With those 30
and
calibers.
I have never, not once, seen a pig, and myself, I shot a ton of pigs with 5.56 many years ago.
Sure.
But it's all about shot placement. But I have never once seen anybody shoulder shoot or body shoot a pig with a 5.56 or 223 and knock it over.
Right.
It's just right through them, and that pig is off to the races.
Yeah, you got to track them down.
I've seen multiple times where guys will, even though we like those neck shots, I've seen him hit him in the shoulder, and it'll just take that pig right off his feet.
Yep.
He might get back up, but he takes him right off his feet. And, bust that shoulder, and we dig that projectile out. I mean, that 300 Blackout is great.
Yep.
I really like the 6.8 SPC, not as much as Sean, because he shoots coyotes at well over 400 yards with it.
I'll tell you what. That was the first time, when LWRC, thank you, Tom, sent us those guns to try out and run out here. First time I ever messed with the 6.8 SPC. Probably for the deer hunters out there, equivalent to a 270. So that kind of gives you an idea of the
270, but without the recoil.
Right, 270 with no recoil. I mean, it's a light gun. It's not a heavy gun like a 308, and that's my only issue with running 308s is those frickin' guns get heavy when you carry them for 6 hours. I mean, that's my only issue. But the 6.8, lighter, fast bullet is still heavy enough to get the job done. I mean, you're shooting, anywhere from 110 up to, what do we shoot?
We've had some 150s,
150s,
but I'd say
yeah.
the average is at 125 grain.
Yep.
But so the thing with that 6.8 SPC is it's got the knockdown power of the Blackout, but the speed of the 223.
Yeah.
So it's like a Blackout on steroids, basically, is what it is.
And it'll reach out there. I mean, like you said, I shot that coyote at 420 yards.
435.
435, thanks to Bearing Optics. Yep. That 640 is the Super Hogster. Freaking awesome scope.
That was an unbelievable. Well, I think the best shot that you ever put on a coyote with your 6.8.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had the Hogster or the Yoder on it, but whichever gun you were using at the time is we were doing the safety briefing, and I'm just kind of scanning the field, and I looked over, and sure enough, there was a coyote standing on the hay bale, and I went, oh, and there's a yote out there standing on the hay bale. And you said, hold on, guys. Wah! Thunk. And I just went, what the? And I hit it with the rangefinder, and that was like 337 or something.
It was
that was cold.
That was a poke.
Cold, standing. I mean, within 15 seconds of me saying that there was a yote out. 10 seconds.
There's a little bit of luck involved with that. I'll just throw that out there.
Well, that was 337, I believe, 327 or 337 yards. Yeah. And that yote just went tonk, and he was done.
Yeah.
I mean, that 6.8 is just my furthest hog kill ever was with my 6.8 out at that Denton bottom, and it was 386 yards.
Yeah.
And when I hit that hog, he went down.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like, man,
right.
Could I ever do that again?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
It's a great round. It is a great round.
It is a great round. And like you said with that 308, I absolutely love my 308 with that Beck ammunition.
Sure.
Get that super yoder on there and really be able to reach out and touch something. I really, really like that 308. But every single guy, Alex was just talking about that the other day. Every single guy that I've handed that 308 to, they've went, are you freaking kidding me? Because you get a 308 with a 20 round mag and a can on it, a 16-inch barrel. That thing is 14 pounds.
And your scope.
Yeah, it's 14 pounds.
You throw thermal in there.
I mean, so I'm used to, probably not so much because I haven't been carrying it lately, but I'm used to that 308, and I'm used to being able to stand and shoot that, just, getting all cowboy on it. I'm used to doing it that way, but a lot of guys will pull that thing up and they'll be like, this thing is ridiculous.
Oh, it is a heavy gun. That's why I sold you that one I had. I'm like, I don't want no part of this. Well,
the good thing is if I miss and a hog runs by, I can use it as a club.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, the 308 is, if I had to pick one round, one caliber for my everything gun, it would be a 308.
Yeah.
Because you can find ammo anywhere.
Yep.
You can literally knock down anything.
It'll reach out there.
It'll get out there and touch something.
Yep.
But you are gonna have to eat your Wheaties because carrying that baby around, it does get heavy.
You ain't lying. That's my only thing I don't like about the 308. Heavy guns.
And look at that little blackout that you built for Alex with our carbon fiber barrel.
Oh, man.
His freaking scope weighs more than the gun.
I know.
I mean, that thing, it's a shorty, it's a pistol.
It's a tag driver.
Dude, he has hit, for that,
It's a 12-inch barrel.
12-inch barrel. I mean, that thing is this freaking long.
Yeah.
And to be able to get out there and hit some of the stuff that he's hit with that, I'm just like, I don't get it.
I've seen him knock stuff down 200 yards with it.
I know.
That
on the
thing's
run.
dialed in, yeah.
On the run.
Yeah, that thing's dialed in. That's a good build.
But that little pistol that you just built,
yeah,
that thing's ridiculously light. I mean, you could literally, that's 300 blackout, that's a shorty. You could literally like hold that thing up all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, it weighs nothing, especially if you're used to a bigger gun. But the 308 I really like. Yes, you do have some weight to it. That the LWRC Razorback 2 and that 6.8 SPC is a fantastic gun, because that there being a piston gun instead of a gas gun, dude, the first time I took that out and shot it, like I was expecting, because I did a little bit of ballistic information on it, research on it, I was expecting to have more punch than my 300, just a little more recoil than my 300 blackout.
Right.
And when I got that thing up on tripod and I'm getting ready to get my scope all tuned in, and I'm like,
yeah, easy.
I was like, something's wrong here.
Easy.
I mean, just no recoil.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, you can take down a hog with about a toothpick if you want. I mean, guys will say, because when I tell guys, when I say something like, well, speed kills.
Yeah.
So you want to have a little bit of speed. You want to make sure you have that 300 blackout speed or above with a heavier projectile. They're like, well, Billy shot one with his bow.
Right.
Okay,
yeah, kidding.
You're talking about a broadhead with a cutting surface.
Right.
I mean, come on now, but...
well, now let's throw this out there, Todd. Subsonic and a 300 blackout. No go.
Dude, that's where the big conversation came from, was subsonic ammo.
Yeah.
So, you were there.
I was there.
I was testing subsonic ammo. It expands like crazy. And I said to you guys, we were just doing like a fun deal, and I said to you guys, I'm going to shoot that big bore. I think he was the one on the right side. I said, I'm going to shoot that big bore in the shoulder. We were at 80 yards.
Yep.
And I said, I'm going to shoot that big bore in the shoulder, and then you guys got to take him down. Because I knew he wasn't going down. I said, you guys got to take him down because we got to dig out this projectile. So I laced that hog. Boom! Hit that hog.
Heard it. Hard smack.
And all he did was this. And then took off running.
Yep.
And then you guys opened up on it. You guys killed 4 or 5 in that little volley. But that pig went down, and I watched him. Because I just put that one round, and I watched him. Okay? Yep, there he goes. He went down. When we went over there and saw that pig, he had a few holes in him. But when we dug that projectile out of the shoulder, that projectile was between the skin and the shoulder plate.
Yeah, never penetrated any vitals.
I mean, you were like, yep, there it is right there.
Right, yeah.
Dug it out, and the bone matter has stopped it.
Yep.
Subsonic ammo, yeah, if you're...
Listen, you can gut shoot them all day long. Yeah, you're going to penetrate the guts, but you're never going to find the pig because they're going to run, 1,000 yards.
Who knows,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, eventually...
It'll kill
Yeah,
him.
eventually he's going to die.
Yeah.
But if you want to... I don't know.
You want a humane, clean kill.
If you want a clean kill,
Don't
if you
use
want some
subsonic.
meat, if you want to use, take some pictures, subs ain't the way to go.
No.
I mean,
not gonna do it.
Even subs with the 308, I don't like them.
Right.
Just because traveling less than 1,000 feet per second, they just don't have the energy.
Nope. You got to get a little punch behind them.
I mean, yeah, if you shoot that guy in the eyeball or you shoot him in the ear, get a really good spine shot, on the neck or something, okay. But that's all like perfect scenario stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, how often does the perfect storm come up with pigs? Pigs are always moving. There's always something going on. The wind is changing.
Yeah, it's a whole different game. But and this is a whole different conversation too. Is when you get into bullet weight and grains and tips and all that kind of stuff. We could go way down some rabbit holes when we're talking about this stuff.
And we have really had different podcasts, but we've really had some great success with those soft points.
Yeah.
Those soft points, those
they're,
are 150 grain.
They're the Winchester 150 grain soft points. They hit hard and mushroom out. They do some damage. And then the Hornady 110 grain SST tips.
Yep.
We've done really good with those. But, I mean, that's the great thing about what we get to do is we get to do real-life ballistics on this stuff. So it's not like we're pulling this out of a magazine or out of our butt. We're out there using this stuff and putting it to work, and we get to dig them out of the animals to see what kind of damage they do.
Well, so when you say that, I mean, we're not shooting into gel.
No,
we're shooting into some real live bone matter,
yeah,
blood and
tough
guts.
animals.
So, for instance, the first pig I took down with my 45-70 when I decided to take a knee.
Oh, yeah.
I never take a knee. My knees are bad. I can't get up off the ground. I'm old as shit. But the first time I decided to take a knee with that 45-70, I'd only shot it, on a rest or a tripod. I got my thermal on. I got it all tuned. Got it all good to go, man. And this big boar walked out, and he was the last pig in the bunch. And he was walking. And I said, I'm going to take down that big boar. And I took a knee, and I shot with that 45-70 and lever action Henry 45-70, and it about knocked me on my ass.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready for the recoil.
Yeah.
Right. So by the time I came back down, I was like, "The pig's gone. What the heck?" And I looked, and he went about 8-10 feet. Left an unbelievable blood and gut trail.
Yeah.
But with that 45-70, 325 grain Hornadays,
that's beast.
I mean, man, it put a hole in that pig. But we were talking about the same bullet that I shot that bison with.
I know. That's what I was just going to say. You killed a bison with that gun, and it was freaking...
It folded him.
It did.
It folded him. And that pig went 10, 15 feet and then went down and was kicking a little bit, and then he was done. And when we walked up there, I mean, there was a crime scene.
Yeah.
And that pig still went 10, 15 feet.
Right.
I'm like, I mean, so, you talk about doing live ballistics. Well, hell yeah, we're living it.
Yeah, we are. We get to try all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So Hornady, if you're listening,
hit us up.
That's right.
And the cool thing with what we do too is we get to, so like just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a history here with us. We are out in the woods a lot. We hunt a lot. Like, dude, you're gonna be hard pressed to find somebody that's got more time with an eyeball and a thermal than us.
It's exhausting.
I mean, you're out a minimum of 25 to 30 hours a week behind a thermal minimum.
Yeah.
And I'm out a minimum of 45 to 60, sometimes 70 hours a week behind a thermal. I mean, you're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody that's got more time than us.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is we get to test a lot of stuff.
We do. And it's cool to see, I mean, not just the new stuff coming out, but the durability of the stuff we've been using for years. And we've got some thermals that are 4 or 5 years old. We've never had an issue with them.
Well, so when you talk about like, so I'm a a follower or a member, whatever you would call it, out of all these thermal pages and all these hunting pages, like 27 of them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys get on there and say, oh, well, I got to warranty this and warranty that. What's their customer service like? Well, I'm thinking about buying a new thermal. What is their customer service like? Because they've had issues with customer service in the past, mostly like ATNs probably maybe, but anyways, they've had some issues with thermals.
There's another company too we won't mention.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like with these bearing optics, guys, because we use bearing optics a lot. I mean, our bearing optics, you take a year-old bearing optics with us, that thing's got 6-7 years worth of use on it.
Oh, easy. Probably more than that, because most guys get them out 2 or 3 times a year. We get them out 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I mean,
when you talk about like
crazy.
a durable product, we've got 7 bearing optic scopes and 7 or not? 9. 9. We've got 9 bearing optic scopes,
9 of them.
and we never sent one of them in.
We've never sent one in, and just so you guys know, I'm not good on equipment. I am super hard. They're tools.
Run them like a rental.
I do. I run them like a rental because they are tools for me. Todd packs his away in cases every night and babies them. I've got a deck system in the back of my truck. I pull the drawer out, I throw them all in there, and I close the drawer. I mean, and they hold zero. They're durable.
We check them all the time.
All the time.
I mean, it's almost one of those things where now it's become it's kind of like my trailer lights. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
So I've got one light working on my trailer and on one of my trailers, and it's been out for about 6 months. And Sean's like, when are you going to fix that damn trailer? Get those lights hooked back up. And I'm like, it's almost a challenge to see how long can I go before I get pulled over.
Well.
And it's like running our equipment like a rental. It's kind of the same way. How long can we go before one of these things finally breaks?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm impressed.
And we check zero, and the zero is like a challenge, because when we check zero, they're always on, and we're, as much as they get banged around and as much as we have to take them off and wash them in the kitchen sink with a scrub brush and then put them back on the gun, you blow them off with a little bit of air and away you go. You're always wondering, when am I going to get one that's not going to hold zero?
Yeah.
And they always do.
I'm laughing because I think all the clients that can't hit shit and they're like, this gun it's off. And you're like, no, let me see it. No, it's good.
That's happened multiple times.
Yeah.
I mean, our equipment's on. These bearing optic scopes are, they're fantastic. They really are. I want to thank Boris at Bearing. They've just been great.
How about the durability of our guns, too?
Man, brother, I tell you. I would not even be able to guess or let's just take one gun, the 6.8 SPC from LWRC.
Right.
Okay, we've got a few different guns, but just think, how many rounds do you think have been through that one, particular 6.8 SPC? So we've got a couple of them, but how many rounds have been through those?
Oh,
thousands of rounds.
Right.
What's the life expectancy on a say you go out and you buy a $995 $1,000 AR,
right,
and you put several thousand rounds. So what's the life expectancy on that barrel, that bolt carrier?
Well, not to mention the way we use them. We're bouncing around in buggies all night. I throw them in the drawer of my truck. I don't clean my guns. I'm sorry guys. I clean them when they don't work, and that's never. They always work.
Well, so and it's funny because when I go through and clean my guns, it's like, oh god, because we've got a lot of guns.
It's a whole process.
It's a whole process when you go start cleaning them. But they are completely frickin', filthy.
Yeah.
But you never have any failures.
You don't. They just run.
They just go.
Yeah.
They go and go and go. Now, I will say one thing with my 308. My 308 being more of a precision 308 from Beck Defense Weapon Systems, she is finicky.
Yeah.
She must stay clean. If she's not clean, she ain't working right. But that thing's a tack driver, but she does not like to be dirty, and she only likes match-grade ammo.
Well, and that's the thing with running cans, too. When you run cans on your guns, they get 10 times dirtier because it's blowing all that gas and debris back into the gun. And we run cans on all our guns now.
Everybody wants to run a suppressor.
Yeah,
everybody does.
Everybody.
But I'll tell you what, if you're not good with cleaning your gun, forget about it.
Yeah, don't
forget
get a
about
suppressor.
It. Because you can shoot 50 rounds through that gun suppressed, or you can shoot 400 rounds, 500 rounds through it non-suppressed, and you're going to get the same dirty level of gun.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
When I got my first can on that 308 and got her all tuned in, man, I was so stoked. I'm like, I finally got a suppressor. And I went out and I shot that thing and ran it for a weekend, and I probably put I don't know, 50, 60 rounds through it that weekend. And I got it back to the house and I pulled it apart, was getting ready to put it into the safe. And I looked at the bolt carrier, nickel bolt carrier group in there. And I looked at the bolt carrier and I was like, what the hell happened here?
Right.
And I just go,
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then you pull the thing apart and you're like, holy shit.
Well, look at the ammo in the 6.8s when we shoot those. You pull that magazine out and the ammo is still in there. It looks like it's 100 years old.
I know.
Because it's got so much gas and debris going back into the gun. It's nuts. It's a whole nother job.
So, real quick, one thing that I'd like to talk about is how many times have guys, I mean, it's the age old, if you want, to bait pigs, get yourself some Kool-Aid, get yourself some strawberry Jello, get yourself some beer, soak your corn.
Diesel
fuel. My God.
Everything. And I can't say that we haven't tried some of it. I mean, we've tried some Kool-Aid, we've tried some Jello, we've tried beer, we've tried sour milk. We've tried all kinds of stuff.
Sour milk, to me, and it's funny, we had a guy come out and hunt that actually was a pig farmer.
Yep.
And he could look at a pig, and we're pretty damn close. So we look at a pig, we go, about a 230-pound pig there. And that guy was like, you guys know your pigs, because that guy could tell you how much a pig weighed.
100%.
And when we had mentioned sour milk, he's like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go out and buy 7 different ingredients and make your little pig mash or pour diesel fuel over it or whatever you want to do. But I'll tell you what, out of everything that we've ever used, that sour milk is tenfold.
Yep. So bag of corn in a 5-gallon bucket with a gallon of milk, pour it on there, put the lid on it, let it sit in the sun for 5 days, and plug your nose when you open it.
Yeah, an old man.
Woo.
But I'll tell you what.
You'll have pigs that day.
That day.
If
there's pigs in the area, they're on it.
And we've tried peanut butter mix, we've tried black licorice mix, we've tried everything.
That whole Hawaiian punch stuff, Kool-Aid.
Nothing works like soured milk.
Yep.
Nothing.
And that guy, being a pig farmer, he said that, with his pigs, whatever you have, because, I mean, food is money.
Hey.
Whatever you have for leftover scraps, it all goes out to the pigs.
Yeah.
And he said that sour milk, oh, yeah.
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up on a pig farm. I mean, I'd get up at 4 a.m. and go feed the pigs with the guy we rented our house from and stuff.
That would bring some light to his craziness.
Well, that's why I'm not afraid to jump on a pig, because I know how to handle them. I mean, I've done a few.
I ain't jumping on no pig.
So, but yeah, I mean, those guys know their business. I mean, they know that's their life.
Yep.
And he wasn't lying.
Yeah, that sour milk is unbelievable.
Yeah, it works good. It works good. But I mean, you can't replace a feeder going off with just plain old corn at a specific time every day.
It's a dinner bell.
It is. They know when. Like we said before, the pigs are smart. They know when it's going off, they hear it go off, and they come to it.
And it's funny because sometimes, it's hard to pattern them, and they'll get knocked off their schedule. But for the most part, if you got a feeder going off at 7 o'clock at night,
yep,
a lot of times them pigs are there at 7 or they're there at 7:30 because that feeder went off.
Yeah.
And they know. I mean, it's like they're walking around with a Timex on. As they make their rounds, they somehow kind of know what time to be in that area.
They do.
Sometimes they'll get knocked off schedule, but a lot of times they're there.
And I'll throw this out while we're talking about bait. Sweet feed for cattle. It has a very distinct smell, and I put some out Saturday.
And
what happened? We had pigs at every spot. Well, 4 out of the 5 spots I put sweet feed down had pigs on it that night.
Yep. Well, I mean, that grain and molasses, smell. I mean, it's pretty pretty strong smell.
Yeah, it'll bring it out. Bring it out.
And if the wind is going the right direction, anything downwind from it's gonna pick it up.
So you prefer casting it on the ground, or do you prefer digging holes and making them work for it?
Depends on how energetic I am.
Yeah.
I actually do like to put a little bit on the ground, casting it around. But if I'm going to cast it around, I don't want to make piles. I want to just whip it all over because
they have to work for it.
Yes.
It'll hold them longer.
Digging holes is fantastic because they'll come in and they'll start digging and they'll have to be there and they'll have to work to get at it.
Yeah.
But so the thing is a lot of guys are like, and we'll get some haters on this too. A lot of guys will say, well, I just put it in my feeder. Well, if you have, say your feeder goes off and your feeder goes off for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And you got 8 pigs that come in. Yeah, they might be in there for 15, 20, 25 minutes. But if that feeder goes off and you have 45 pigs come in, they're there 5 minutes.
Yeah. They're
You
not
can't get to
for
them.
what we're doing. They don't stay.
Yeah, you
They
can't
don't
get
stick
to them.
around.
So you need, like, even though we have our feeders going off twice a night, usually 7 to 10 seconds a time, we're going out there every freaking week and we're throwing corn all in a huge area all around there.
Right.
Because that way when them pigs come in, they hear that feeder go off.
It holds
now they're there for, we've had pigs on a spot for 3 hours.
Right.
I mean, because there'll be 40, 50 pigs in there.
Yeah. I will say this about digging the holes, though. And we use a power auger. Good investment. If you've got a spot where a big boar is showing up, a boar will stay in that hole for hours.
The other good thing is how smart are these big boars?
Oh,
They are smart.
crazy.
That's how they get big.
Yeah.
And when you bore a hole and he's got his head down in there,
Yeah.
now you can sneak on him.
That's right.
Because he's got head and shoulders in that hole and he's just going to town.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. You take, like, so we're using an 8-inch auger.
Yeah.
Right? So you're boring a hole yay big and you're going down,
3 feet.
3 feet. You're
Yeah.
going down 3 feet in the ground. You come back 2 days later and that hole is 1.5 to 2 feet deep and it's this big around.
It's a crater.
I mean,
It looks like a bomb went off in the ground. It's a crater.
I mean, we've had him dig down, over 3 feet, and that hole is 5 feet around. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had him just go to town on it.
Yeah, but it will hold those big boars. I don't think the holes are good for groups, but it'll hold those big boars.
Yeah, because I think maybe like with the holes, they can't get enough to eat, and they just get bored and leave.
Yeah.
But if you got a big boar coming in, that hole's the way to go for sure.
And that broadcast spreader you used to have for your buggy, if you weren't so hard on crap and keep breaking it,
I fixed it.
then there you go. But that thing worked great too because it would broadcast out the corn.
Yeah, then I
you
could
could
just
dump a bag in it and just drive around.
And just drive around and just spread corn everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I do like that as well. Well, the thing is, guys, we're going to go a little deeper on one of our next podcasts on calibers, guns, ammo, and whatnot, and kind of bring a little bit of light to what we like to use. Man,
Listen, we're going to get some haters.
we are, but we got a lot of time. I mean,
I'll tell you what. There's not many people that shoot running live animals more than we do. There's not. I mean, we're out there 3 nights a week and putting them down. And most people 3 times a year.
well,
So
when
you
you
think
get
about that.
when you get these, a lot of these haters they're sitting on a feeder with a light with their deer blind,
Right.
deer stand,
Right.
and
Gun rest.
yeah, and when that happens, they're shooting one pig and then the rest of the pigs run off.
Right.
And then are those pigs going to come back? Maybe, maybe not.
Right.
I mean, you're getting one opportunity per time, maybe 2 opportunities, and your pigs are gone. And so yeah, you might have 35 years of hunting pig experience, but in those 35 years, what do you kill? 6, 10, 12, 15,
Yeah.
23 pigs a year?
Yeah.
I mean,
And last year, 4 of us went out, killed
oh man, 33 pigs.
33 pigs in 2 hours.
Yeah, it was a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never left one field. It was like group here, group here, group here. I mean,
That was a fun night.
33 pigs in 2 hours. That's getting after it.
Well, and that's recovered pigs. How many
Right.
did we hit that got away?
Exactly.
And that was probably my highest ammo night.
Yeah.
And I shot, I think that night I shot 40, close to 50 rounds that
Yeah.
night.
We were busy.
And I'm usually pretty good about picking my shots, especially when they take off running, but that was a pretty high ammo night for me. So, I mean, I don't have too many nights. Actually, I've had a couple of higher than that, but I don't have too many nights where I'm going through magazine after magazine.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good night.
It was a good night.
Good night.
So anyways, guys, Todd and Shon, man, we want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Tell your buddies about us. If you got any questions or comments, whether the comments are good or bad, man, let us know what you think. If there's something in the hunting world, whether it be, animals, gear, weapons, whatever, deer hunting, whatever it might be, man, reach out to us and let us know, and we'll put some insight to it and tell you what our experiences are and our thoughts. Another podcast is our crazy Colorado story. We got to have a podcast on that.
Got to do that. And then, you know what? We could do a story on side-by-sides because we run the crap out of these machines.
100%. We put miles on
Can-Am,
them, dude.
Polaris. I got no qualms with either one of them.
Oh, dude, they're just absolute workhorses. I would like to see Kawasaki step up and
Yeah.
get us a couple of those ridges to try out. I
Yep.
would really,
and
I'd
the
love to try
Yamaha
them.
Wolverines.
Yeah, I'd love to try them, man. Love to try them. But anyways, thank you guys. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know. We appreciate you. Thank you.